What's up guys, this is Jay from swimtrading.com, aka Swim Trader. This is another episode of Market Update where I'm going to look at what is likely to happen in the market for this coming week. On my screen over here, you can see that I have the chart of the S&P 500 futures, the E-mini. So the lines are already been plotted. You can see that I have multiple trend line and as well as a few key levels that we should be looking at for the coming week. And also another study that you have on my screen, it is the pivot points. So what do I expect, or where do I expect SPX to go? So evidently, first thing first, 2,800, this is a strong point for S&P 500. So no doubt about it, because you can see a resistance, support, and then multi-resistance, support, and then finally it broke through and bounced back right up. So 2,800, also being a round number, has its role to play as an important level. But where is the next important level? So this is what we are going to find out in today's video. So if you pull it over here, we can see that right now it is at resistance. Okay, so the key levels are all plotted on the screen, but let us focus more on the price action. So the long-term trend lines are the blue colored lines, the dotted line, the solid line over there. So this week, you can see that the prices have gone to near a resistance, which was the high made in 2018 January, as well as the support over here, and then support, resistance, and now get resisted again. So make no mistake about it, this is currently where we are now at the resistance, but I do believe that every resistance is a zone, and it is likely that the market will or should go up higher, okay, and got resisted there at the R1 pivot. So this R1 is the monthly period, and I think that the monthly pivot has a strong bearing towards support resistance because the whole market is looking at it, right? Or most of the market participants are looking at it. So what do I expect out of S&P 500? Well, for one, things you need to know is if you are looking at an overhead ceiling, I don't think it is going to stop exactly where it is now. It still has some room to go, some room to follow up, and then finally get resisted at the R1 level, which is around 2,850, somewhere around there. So that is the level that I'm looking at for this week in terms of resistance. Now, in terms of support, do I expect the S&P 500 to pull back down and then after that hit the 2820 pivot level? I don't think so. Instead, right, I am looking at, for a bullish price action, I want to see the S&P 500 stays within this zone. That means it goes into upwards and then a sideways, either a flag pattern or a rectangle pattern. I want to see a pent up, pushing up price pattern, and that will set us up for a greater, a breakout and a continuation thereafter. And it is likely to go and test the all-time high that it has formed, or it has made in 2000, or rather in just April, 2 months back. So this is what I expect out of S&P 500. So again, scenario number one is that it is going to open higher. So scenario number one, you go open higher, okay, and then you get resisted at R1, okay? So you get resisted at R1 and find a solid footing somewhere near the level around 2680, okay? 2860. This is where I'm looking at. So this is scenario number one. For scenario number two, we do not get to the R1 altogether. What we have is it gets resisted off this dotted line and then it pulls back down towards 2820. So that means it goes straight down to 2820, which I think scenario one may be more probable, because if you were to break out first to the R1 and then comes back, this constitutes a false breakout, which is all the trap traders are over there at the false breakout. All right. So this is the direction generally that I'm looking at. I do not think that it is going to go all the way to test the all-time high this week, not at least in the next 5 sessions. All right. So this is for the S&P 500. Now, another index that I favor the most after S&P 500, or maybe sometimes even more than S&P 500, is the Germany 30. So on the chart that we have over here, we can see that the Germany 30 recently, or rather the last 5 sessions, it has found a bottom and then it shot all the way up, closing a very bullish week for last week. Now, where is it likely to go? Evidently, you can see the key levels are at 11,900, okay? 11,900, and the overhead before the large overhead we have is about 12,400. And before we get there, I think there's a neckline that coincided with this R1, which is at 12,200, okay? So I'm looking at the 12,200 target this week for Germany 30. So what I expect the next 5 sessions to do is to give a solid retest of this pivot level first, which is around the zone of 11,900. It is around this zone. So I want to see a solid retest and then slowly inch towards the top of 12,200. So in terms of points range, we are probably looking at a 300-point week. So I'm favoring all in terms of a bullish action, and usually the market will move in tandem. Both the US and as you can see, there's a breakout of the downtrend line over there as well. So both the US market and the German market, or rather the leader of the Europe market, which is the German, usually they move hand in hand. So you can see that this is a bullish breakout and I want to see a retest before moving up. So this is more straightforward than S&P 500. I only have one scenario for this, which is a retest of the pivot level 11,900 and then bounce towards a 300-point gain 12,200. So, well, that is the first scenario that I want to see, which is first, again, let me do it over here, is the retest, okay? Then, after that, you bounce. So this is the first scenario that I'm looking at. The second scenario that I'm looking at, which I do not think it is more probable, but it may happen, it is that it just rally to the R1, which is a resistance, the monthly resistance one, right? So these are the two things that I'm looking out for Germany 30. And now you have S&P 500, you have the Germany 30, you know my directional bias, you know the key levels. So I wish you a safe trading week ahead. I hope that you make some good profits and pay attention to those key levels, because that's where the market tends to go into a sideways consolidation. And as with when the market goes into a consolidation, the stock that you are holding may be affected as well, because 85 to 90% of the stock will move in tandem with the market. All right. So happy week ahead, and I wish you all the best, and I will see you in the coming week. All right. So goodbye, guys. See ya.